If you're new here, my name is Sam and I make videos about makeup, chronic illness, and whatever I want. And today I'm going to be showing you two very different looks with the Glamlite Ghost Face Lives palette. My original plan was to do 3 looks, 1 palette, but I kind of got distracted and I'm filming this later than I needed to do that. So I thought I would take a palette that kind of looks one note and show you how you can get two pretty, if not completely different looks out of it. I've gotten a lot of comments from friends who are new to makeup or don't know much about makeup that they struggle picking colors and pairing colors, which those are future videos I'm going to do. 3 looks, 1 palette is going to be something I bring into my channel next year. But I thought I would show you how you could get looks that don't look the same, even though the color story looks like everything would be fairly similar. So I'm going to do 1 look on each eye. A quick note, if you notice my foundation looks kind of dark. I'm trying to finish up my summer shade, so I apologize if I look kind of chaotic. I don't have any concealer under my eyes or anything yet because I wanted to just go in and do my eyes first. Lately, I have been doing my eyes before I do the rest of my base makeup, but for simplicity's sake, I wanted to do it this way today. So I'm going to zoom you in extra close so you can get a good shot at my eyes. I'm gonna have my brushes here and I'm going to kind of walk you through like different brushes too, but I want this to be pretty beginner friendly. I'm not any kind of expert, but I guess I'm like middle of the road. Also, I am so sorry if I'm sweating. It's not even hot here, but I can't have my windows open because I'm trying this new thing to avoid getting bronchitis, where I don't expose myself to the fall pollen. And so far it's working, but that means my house is feeling like it's still summer outside. We'll start on this side, and I think I want to go for a brown look, which we have this gray, but I'm going to use it in this mix. And this like tan khaki color, we'll start with that. And what you're going to want to start with is some kind of like fluffy brush and a piece of paper towel, a dish rag, something. I have an item here called, it's very gross, the color switch, which I'm going to be using, but you don't need that. You can just use a washcloth or something. And I'm also going to go in with an eye primer. My personal favorite primer is the Urban Decay in Eden specifically, and I'm going to show you why I prefer this. So, as you can see, for me, this wouldn't work on deeper skins. It matches my skin tone. And some people can get away with just using concealer. This is a little bit tacky, which I need because I have deep set eyes. And I'm bringing the primer up to the brow bone. What I use for rags, actually, is an old cut-up t-shirt. With my fluffy brush, I'm going to dip into the khaki shade. This one is called Chilled Frost. You don't need this specific palette. You can have any kind of palette and do something similar. Basically, you're just going to want 3 tones, a light, a medium, and a deep. It can be any tones, but if you do have this palette, that's what I'm using. So I am gently windshield wiper motioning it right there on my brow bone. Now this will be different for different eye shapes. If you have hooded eyes or smaller eyes, I'm very lucky I have a lot of real estate here. So if you have like a hooded eye, you're not going to have this deep crease. Like I have deep set eyes, but they're not hooded. And what that means is like when I look at you, like you're a little up, but like when I look straight, you could still see my eyelid. If you had a hooded eye, your eyelid would mostly be covered. This part of your eye would basically like touch your eyelashes, and it wouldn't be like deep set. It would be fairly, I don't know what word I'm looking for, but if that's the case, you're going to have to almost create your own crease. Like you wouldn't have a brow bone and a crease, you would just basically have this. So what I would do with that eye shape is where I'm putting it is my natural crease. You would have to bring it above, so when you're looking straight and you can't see this part on your eye, fake it until you make it. You're going to place it in a similar spot even though it's not going to be on the bone. I almost went and did the other side, but we're doing two different looks, so don't do that. I'm going to keep dipping, tapping off the excess. I forgot to mention to do that. And just layering it until I get like a nice color. It was a little too light now. Like, it does look gray and not as tan as it does in the palette. So next what I'm going to do is wipe it off on your rag or your paper towel or whatever, and we're going to go in with the brown, which is called Shadows Back. Let's see, this is actually a cool toned brown, which I appreciate because I don't have very many like cool toned things. Now with this on my eye, I'm going to go under the crease and onto the lid and tap it where I want it. Then I'm going to go and wipe my brush off on whatever medium that is. Now, if you have the hooded eye, you're going to, again, kind of create it. You don't want to put it in your crease because you won't see it, so you're going to go slightly above. Now I'm just going to buff this out into the crease or into our faux crease and onto the lid. And I'm going to do what I did last time. Dip back into that color, tap it off, and go in with the second coat. As you can see, these on my skin tone are coming off not brown at all, and instead very gray. So I might be lying when I say that these looks are going to be incredibly different, because on my eyes the colors look similar. So I'm going to go wipe that brush off again, go back into that tan khaki color, and smooth out those edges like so. Now, as you can see on mine, I have like this area right here where sometimes I struggle to get color to stay, and it kind of impacts the shape. So I'm going in with that darker brown and just tapping it into that bare spot. If I go too wild with the buffing, it just kind of disappears again. And gently do some sweeping. I can't see without my glasses. I'm going to clean off the brush and go in with that lightest shade, that movie night shade. Tap, tap, tap it off, and go on this outer edge and smooth that out. And blend it all together. Okay. I want to just like keep this one fairly simple. I'm kind of the queen of simple looks. Mine look a little more complicated than they are. It's really all just about blending for me. What I want to do next is take a flat kind of brush and go in with the khaki medium shade. Put it on the brush. We're not tapping off this time. And then just pat it all across the lid, just to give it a little color. And now I'm going to pick a shimmer. I feel like I'm going to go with this Vengeful Spirit. It's kind of like a taupe mauve kind of color. A mandatory product for me is this NYX glitter glue. I just apply this stuff with my finger. I I'm fine with this. You can use a brush, but I'm going to apply it all over my lid. And make sure it's smoothed out and there's not like just one big glob anywhere. Wipe my finger off. I'm gonna go in with that shade and tap it over the glitter glue. Now you may have to go back in like me. Pick up some more depending on how opaque you want it. If you want it more sheer, you don't have to do this. I like my shimmers to be opaque, like so. Now we're gonna pick up our fluffy brush again, go into that khaki shade or your middle color, whatever you're using, tap it off, and we're going to buff the edge of the shimmer so it's not so stark. And then what I like to do is buff this edge a little as well. So that is done. Pretty simple look. Now what I'm going to do to finish this off is I'm going to go in with my concealer and do under my eye. Apply concealer to the back of my hand. I warm it up a bit with my finger. I apply it a little differently depending on each look. This is a pretty simple look, so I'm doing some fairly simple concealer, and now I go in with my concealer brush and just tap that in. And you can set this or not. I'm not going to set it today just because I got things to do. I'm going to go in, dab my fillet with, with the fluffy brush again. Make sure I clean it off. I'm going to start with that middle shade or the tan color if you're using this. God, what's the name? Chilled Frost. And I'm going to lightly buff it under my eyes. If you find, not eyes, well, both. If you're not doing one look per eye, I am. So if you find you're getting too much pigment, you're probably holding your brush too low. I find for a lot of my looks, the middle is exactly where I like to be. Sometimes you want such a light touch that you hold it all the way at the end, but generally the middle is kind of the sweet spot. Next, we're going to go into that dark brown or shadow stack. Tap and buff this under the eye. You can add more or less. This is, I would say, like kind of an everyday look. It's not too bold. I think it's very neutral. You can add liner if you would like, a winged liner, whatever. I'm going to keep it simple and do how I would wear it, and it's just going to be mascara. And I'm going to do a brown mascara. I'm not going to curl my lashes because I forgot to get out the curling thing. So brown mascara, I'm using Lash Blast by CoverGirl in just brown, I think. Yes, just brown. And I'm going to show you what this looks like for kind of a nice everyday, maybe like a daytime occasion. You don't want anything too bold. We'll do bold on the other side. Now we're going to move on to this eye. Same thing with the primer. I'm going to go a little more dramatic on this side. So I am going to go for like the darker colors. I haven't actually done the blues. I did do a dramatic look with like the black and like the charcoal grays, but I haven't done the blues. So let's play with those. I'm going to start with Ghostly Gray, the slate gray color. Tap it on my fluffy brush, tap it off, and kind of do the same placement for this color. On my brow bone, kind of going into the crease, just buffing it out lightly, holding that brush in the middle of the brush, going up towards my brow, not adding any more color, just pulling what's on there. I'm going to tap back into that and do it a second time. Now I'm going to do a little bit of a different thing on the other side. This darkest blue, curfew hour. Going to tap on here, tap off, and I'm going to place it here on the outer corner up into the crease, and then here on the inner corner. It's hard for me to show you and do it, but you could see where I'm going, and now I'm going to kind of cover you so I could see. Okay, I used too big of a brush. So we're going to have to like fix that, but basically I wanted the inner half and the outer half. Let me switch to a smaller brush because I don't know what the heck I was thinking. Now I'm just blending it up into that first color. This brush sucks. I need to get new brushes. Like, some of these Morphe ones are just dying. I've had them too long. I also need to get more smaller brushes because I don't have many of them left. Or I didn't have many to begin with. I wasn't much of a detailed work gal. Kind of just doing the same things all the time. So to get into that inner corner, I'm going to take that flat brush and get in there. Now to fix my sweat, geez. Going to take some of that eye primer, put it on the back of my hand, and use a small packing brush, which is extra flat, and put it on here. And now I'm going to clean up the middle of this eye. It doesn't need to be perfect because we're going to be laying a color over it, but I put way more color on there than I intended of that blue. So how I measure it is just half and half. If I look forward, it mostly measures up with the iris. It doesn't have to be straight because of how I'm going to like blend the edges. Before I do any more matte colors, I'm going to go in with the shimmer. I don't think I've used this like purpley. I can see I've used this one. I haven't used this yet. This is Sharpest Knife. So I'm going to go in with the glitter primer on top of that, only in that area. So I'm going to not use my finger this time so I can be more precise. I'm gonna, flat brush I used, I'm going to pick up the glitter primer and tap it in the same spots. And then I'm going to wipe this brush off really well on my rag, not on my thing. And I'm going to pick up that shimmer. It's not going to apply as well as my finger, but as you can see, I have a chunk. I'm going to use my finger here because it's just superior. I have one of the silicone brushes that is fine, but I have to glue it because the silicone tip keeps falling off. Now you can see that's just in the middle. And now we're going to take a fluffy brush that we had previously used. Make sure it's cleaned off. And I'm going to go in, like I did over here, and buff the crease to smooth out that top portion of the glitter. And then I want to go in with that small packing brush again and go in with that dark blue and pack it on the outer corner because we lost some of the depth with my mishap, and the inner corner. Kind of messy, as you can see. I'm a bit of a mess here. Now with the blending brush, I'm going to go back in and buff the edge up. Not pushing hard at all. If you need less pressure, hold it closer to the end of the brush, further away from the bristles. You can still control it easily, as you can see, but the pressure is much lighter. Now I am going to have to take a wipe here, or a tissue, or a Q-tip in micellar water, or whatever you have, to like clean up that right there. This eye is more bold, so the look I want to go for is going to be more, this is more of my natural side. So I'm going to do concealer under my eye. Warm it up on my finger, one here. Like, it is going to be heavier than the other side, but I don't know what I'm talking about. Light. It's not light at all. Concealer brush again. Tap it down the side of my nose. Up here. It's okay if this is kind of mixed blue. Just make sure it's blended down here with not blue. But up here is going to be blended out anyway, so. Probably more blue than I want, so I'm going to take the foundation brush I used and kind of fix that a little bit. Okay. I'm going to go with the blending brush, or the first flat brush that wasn't the packer brush, so you can see the difference here. We're going to go with this one. Clean it off. Start with that slate gray or ghostly gray and buff it. I'm not setting this side either, by the way, if you didn't catch that. That looks pretty good, so now I'm going to go in with the darker blue, curfew hour. Why can't I remember these names? I think because I don't usually look at the names. Just go over that. Now, I'm not good at eyeliner, if you're new here. So I'm just going to tight line, which is where I do the waterline on the top and the bottom with a black eyeliner. You're free to do whatever you want. If you're talented enough to do eyeliner, I welcome you to do that. I'm going to do the inner corner on this with the Midnight Robe, this silver. Here's that rubber brush I'm talking about. It's really handy. You could probably find these anywhere. This is a Morphe one. Now I can't get the thing back in. Okay, I got it back in. I just need to put a dab of glue. That way when I clean it, it doesn't like fall off. I'm gonna pick up that silver. Wow, that was more than I intended. On this and tap it onto my inner corner. Now I'm going to go in with a heavier mascara. This L'Oreal Lash Paradise. Usually I would curl my lashes, but like I said, I didn't get the lash curler out. And now it's trapped in the drawer. And the mascara is wet, but this is the final look on this eye. I like how that turned out. I hope that was easy for you guys to follow along and that you liked one or both of these looks. I thought that was really fun to do. If you have a palette request for me to do this with, let me know down below. Is there something you want to learn how to create a look with? I would be happy to indulge you in the future. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing, and I will see you guys next time.